Yes, of course. I mean, interests and you know, strategies and political strategies about trade, they always run into, I'd say, natural limitations. And those natural limitations are the laws of supply and demand and of competitive advantage. And as from the moment that Nigeria is able to produce as good a product in terms of refined petroleum as Belgium does, then of course, who would Belgium be to oppose that? Clearly, this is not going to be without any consequences for our bilateral trade in the short run, because we are the top importing European country into Nigeria. I mean, it can't be said enough because it sounds almost out of this world. Belgium is representing 40.1% of imports into Nigeria, most of it being refined oil. Now, we've seen a bit of a dip in that export in 2024, but I wouldn't call that significant for that particular product because you saw a dip generally in exports from Belgium to Nigeria. And even from some imports from Nigeria into Belgium, and I would call that's not the Dangote Refinery effect. It's, I'd say, the purchasing power dip effect in Nigeria, which just makes that Nigerians had less nairas, I mean, still as many nairas, but less dollars and euros to spend on purchasing goods abroad. Yes. So I'm still waiting to have that Dangote effect show up in our trade statistics, but I do expect it in 2025. Now, what does Belgium wish for? I think, and it's not very different from what Nigeria wishes for, I think. We've been wishing for a diversification of our trade for the longest time, for a move away from petroleum products, because it's just not very healthy for any economy to depend too much on that. As I already answered during and after your first question, it's also not very logical for petroleum to be first shipped from Nigeria to Europe, then to be shipped back refined from Europe to Nigeria. There's no sound logic for that. So it's also a matter of common sense. That our trade in the future will be more about other products. And an interesting development in that regard is also, if you look in the other direction, the exports from Nigeria to Belgium, which are, I mean, just a fraction of the value of the export from Belgium to Nigeria. By the way, this is also where Belgium is the odd man out in Europe. We're one of the very few European countries with a trade surplus to Nigeria. Most of our neighboring countries have a trade deficit. So because of all this refined oil departing from the port of Antwerp to Nigeria, there is that trade surplus. But what Nigeria imports into Belgium historically also was mostly crude oil. Now, that is no longer true in 2024 because now cocoa has overtaken crude oil as a main product of export to Belgium. So the diversification, you can already notice it a little bit, but we want to see much more of it. Also, let's be clear, this whole thing about fossil fuels, Europe wants to get rid of it. We want to move to a net zero world. And so it doesn't also make much sense that our trade relations would rely so much on fossil fuels. It's a thing of the past. It's a dinosaur of the 20th century that we have to bury before too long.